Why did Yugoslavia collapse? To answer this question, we must go back to the year 1980. For 3 decades, Yugoslavia had achieved industrial growth, modernization, workers' rights, and offered a high quality of life with relative freedom, education, and healthcare, much better than any other communist state in Europe. However, it faced many issues, notably economic crises and inequality between all of Yugoslavia's republics and autonomous zones. Decentralization had given power to the republics, but richer areas like Croatia and Slovenia were opposed to wealth redistribution to poorer areas like Kosovo and Macedonia. Regional inequalities worsened under the IMF's austerity measures, reducing social spending. Political disagreements intensified, and memories of the extreme inter-ethnic violence during the Second World War increased tensions. On May 4, 1980, Yugoslavia's President Josip Tito died. He was the country's sole leader since 1945, and socialist Yugoslavia was unimaginable without him. He was succeeded by the President of the Presidency of Yugoslavia, a system which rotated leaders every year, but none were ever as popular as Tito. In 1981, ethnic Albanian students, workers, and miners in Kosovo protested against poor economic conditions, claiming the Serb government's negligence despite attempts in the 1970s to solve the region's issues. Centuries of tensions between Albanians and Serbs exacerbated the crisis, culminating in protesters demanding Kosovo become a republic rather than an autonomous zone, or, if necessary, secede from Yugoslavia. Communist authorities sent in the army and established martial law, violently crushing the protests. This event triggered nationalist sentiment in Serbia, demanding the abolition of the autonomous zone of Kosovo, fueled by a leaked document written by Serb intellectuals called the Memorandum, which claimed that Serbs were systematically oppressed throughout Yugoslavia. This reinforced the notion that Serbs were victims throughout their history and needed to protect themselves. Combined with the continued economic crisis and the Agro-Commerce affair, which exposed mass corruption in the League of Communists, public anger grew, setting the stage for one man to fan the flames, Slobodan Milošević. Milošević was a Serb nationalist and the president of the League of Communists in Serbia, who gained popularity for his support of the Serbs in the Kosovo crisis, even when they instigated violence. He portrayed himself as the Serbs' hero, advocating for the re-centralization of Yugoslavia under Serb control, removing the autonomous zones of Kosovo and Vojvodina. He organized rallies and had his supporters harass politicians who disagreed with him, who often resigned and were replaced by Milošević loyalists, including the president of Montenegro. Other republics expressed concern towards Milošević's actions, and Slovenian leaders hinted at secession. An extraordinary Congress of the League of Communists was organized, where Milošević hoped to force centralization onto the rest of the country, but the Slovenian delegation opposed the motion and proposed confederation instead. When the proposal was shut down by the Serbian and Montenegrin delegations, the Slovenians walked out, followed by the Croatians, effectively ending the League of Communists. New political parties were formed in each republic, largely along ethnic lines. The collapse of the Congress was essentially the political end of Yugoslavia. Each republic was now alone, choosing its own path and preparing for war. Despite what some may claim, the breakup of Yugoslavia was not inevitable, and not solely because of Tito's death. The issues which broke up the country were present before he died, like poor economic conditions and nationalism, which were exacerbated by political chaos and Milošević's actions. The final end of Yugoslavia would be solidified by a lot of bloodshed.